When we look at a statue of someone great, we think they've got something we don't. We're trained to think that only a tiny percentage of us have the stuff it takes to be a hero. Not many of us will cure any diseases or slay any dragons, but every single one of us is called to be a king, a queen, a hero in our ordinary lives. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't build statues to worship the exceptional life, nor do we bring you town hall. We build them and we bring you town hall to remind you of what's possible in your own life. So with that, I would like to bring up our Primero introducer, and hailing from Cathedral City High School, Andrea Rojas.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrea Fatima Rojas, and I am a sophomore from Cathedral City High School. Tonight, in this room, we have various students from all over the valley. With that, the person to your right may not share the same opinions with you, and the person to your left may see eye to eye to you. But please remember that we are a community, no matter our differences or personal preferences. To start off the night, we will listen to two incredible assemblymen who are on two different teams but share a common goal. Chad Mayes and Eduardo Garcia, Republican and Democrat, are Californians by heart and work hard to improve the lives of everyone, no matter their party affiliation. I am a leader in my school, representing various students, and although I do not share the same beliefs with everyone, I am there to serve and represent them. Assemblyman Eduardo Garcia and Assemblyman Chad Mayes understand this perfectly and are prime examples of true Americans. Today, tolerance and acceptance may be decreasing, but tonight, these two men will not only share the stage, but help us understand our America. I am honored to introduce to you Assembly Member Chad Mayes and Eduardo Garcia.
Well, good evening. How are you guys doing? When she was introducing us, she said incredible, and I think both Eduardo and I got a chuckle out of that. Incredible, I'm not quite sure about that. Well, it is so good to be with you tonight. I think what Eduardo and I decided to do is maybe give a quick background about how we got to where we're at, and then open it up for Q&A. Is that okay? So do you guys got your questions ready? All right, well, I'll give you a quick background. So my hometown is Yucca Valley. I grew up in Yucca Valley, graduated from high school a month after my 16th birthday. I skipped a couple grades. I went to community college, then it was a Copper Mountain campus of College of the Desert. And then I went off to Liberty University, got a degree in political science, moved home after spending some time in Washington, D.C. I was an intern for United States Senator. John Ashcroft was his name. This was in the late 90s. And then when I moved home, ended up becoming a financial advisor, an investment professional, did that for a couple of years. Ended up running for town council in Yucca Valley, very small town. And I got elected. I started running when I was 24 and got elected when I was 25. Ended up becoming the mayor of my hometown, which is quite an honor. In fact, still to this day, is one of the coolest things to be able to say that you're the mayor of your hometown. At 27, served on the Yucca Valley Council for 8 years. And then after 2010, ended up being the chief of staff for a county supervisor in San Bernardino County. Her name was Janice Rutherford, and then decided to run for this assembly seat and got elected in 2014. 9 months after being in the state assembly, the Assembly Republican Caucus made me the Assembly Republican leader. And so I lead my caucus and do all the negotiations with the governor and the other legislative leaders on behalf of our caucus. So that's me.
Thank you, Chad. How's it going? You're awake. Buenas tardes. Good evening. It's great to be here. One thing I guess we don't have in common is Chad says at 16 he graduated from high school. He skipped a couple of years. I'm probably the guy that should have stayed a couple of extra years. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. So I was born and raised here in the Coachella Valley. Coachella is the hometown that I was raised in. Alumni of CV High School, class of 1995, and it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but that's a long time ago. I am a product of growing up in a community where, you know, the folks that I grew up with around me, in the neighborhood that I grew up in, at school, by the time we were in middle school, we began to see a bunch of folks kind of just disappear, right? 8th grade, oh, what happened to Jason? Well, Jason's dropping out. You know, freshman year, what happened to Johnny? Well, did you know that Johnny got in trouble this summer and is in juvenile hall now? And somewhere along the lines, right, those are kind of some of the more light stories of some of the folks that I grew up as a child with in Coachella off of Avenue 51st. And so I'm very lucky and blessed. Every time I drive to that Capitol building, I think to myself, on a bad day, I still get to work there and do the work of the people of California and the people who I represent in the Coachella and Imperial Valleys. As I mentioned, I was a product of public schools. I went to the community college, and for a long time, I was actually embarrassed to say that I was there longer than I needed to be. I was actually there for close to 4 years. So while all my other friends were finishing their undergraduate studies, I was rarely getting my feet wet at the community college. But I realized something very quickly, and that is that those 4 years were extremely important. Some of them were make-up time for me, perhaps some of the things that I didn't fully grasp and understand in my high school years. But I tell people I was at College of the Desert for almost 4 years, where that's truly where I learned how to read and write at a proficient level to be able to go on to the university. So after serving or working through the COD system for 4 years, transferred over to UC Riverside, where I studied government, political science with minors in Native American studies and Chicano studies. And my goal was to be a teacher. And I actually got that opportunity right after graduating from high school. I was able to go back to CV High School and start off as a substitute teacher, then a long-term substitute teacher, and then landing a really cool job teaching American history to 11th graders there at the high school. That was really cool for me. But there was then an opportunity to work at the adult education school there in downtown Coachella, where I got to work with adults who wanted to learn the English language. Other adults who were there to go through the U.S. citizenship preparation coursework. And that to me was eye-opening, because I felt like those folks that were there, service workers in the hotel industry after working 8 hours, 10 hours a day, those folks working out in the fields, working long days and hours, they actually were going home, showering up, maybe cooking a meal, getting their books and going to class because they wanted to learn the language. Because they knew if they understood and could speak the language, they could actually have better opportunities for themselves and for their children. And that was very inspiring. Along the same time, I got this idea that was planted in my head when I was 17 years old. I actually did an internship at the Coachella City Hall, where they gave me an opportunity to videotape the city council meetings. And at the age of 16, 17, I had no idea what the roles and responsibilities of those 5 individuals were. But I did get this idea that if they were up there, I could do that too. And so fast forward, I did get elected to the city council right after college in 2005.